Hi, I'm Rachael Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is our resident sensational storyteller, Jaki Black. Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent
Spellbound with Black.
and Whitefield.
All right, Rachel, what are we drinking?
Oh, Jaki, I'm so glad you asked. As we're going through our whiskey reserves, in these New Year's, being financially responsible, I believe we are drinking the Bullet Bourbon. Bullet
Mm-hmm.
Bourbon Frontier Whiskey, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So mine, again, straight out of the freezer. Nice little sheen on it.
It's so funny that you're calling it whiskey reserves because I definitely went ahead and bought another bottle. I got myself a littler bottle just because I think it's, to be honest, so cute.
That is definitely a traditional boot leg size. That'll fit
That's
right in
why I
your boot.
liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love
Yep.
it.
Okay, before I pour,
Yeah.
are you ready for
Let's
the
let's
ice
talk
mold of the day?
let's talk ice molds. Let's
Ice
talk
molds.
fancy sprinkles and ice molds.
Ice molds. Um, Well, I have a space adjacent themed story on our podcast today. So I love a good theme, and you know that. So I went straight for the dun 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 Millennium Falcons. Millennium Falcons.
Those are sick.
I know. And they're so good. They're so good. And what I did is my personal favorite is the Moonstone glitter from Fancy Sprinkles. And then I have two Millennium Falcons here, so I like to put them together. And I had to get a bigger cup for these ice molds since they are hefty ice molds. But both in the cup, two Millennium
Well,
Falcons.
oh, good. You got two in there. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I got myself another like a large cube ice mold and
Mm-hmm.
made myself two cubes. And then they stuck together. So now there's two cubes in there, but they have fancy sprinkles amethyst. Again,
Amethyst.
I'm
You
obsessed with
do
the
love the
amethyst.
amethyst.
If it's not black, it's purple in my life. Like,
Yes. If it's not black, it's pink for me. So
yeah.
obvi, I'm wearing black with a bright pink lipstick today. So, and pink cocktail ring too. Ring a ding ding.
Oh, I love a pink.
Are we pouring? I'm pouring my heart today.
I'm also pouring with my heart, and
Pouring
that
with my
means I'm
heart.
just
Let's go.
filling up the cup.
Fill up the
Here
cup.
we go.
Pouring over the Millennium Falcon ice molds. Ooh,
Mine is very sparkly.
so sparkly.
Yes, clinkies.
Twinkies.
Clinkies.
Mm. Ooh, that's good.
Oh, that tannic shock right at the tip, like right when you
Mhm.
drink it and you haven't been drinking whiskey like every day.
Yeah.
It is so like, I love the way it like heats up my
It's
chest.
a little awakening
Yeah.
because I haven't again, I only really drink whiskey on the show, so it's like, oh yeah, but it's also like because I haven't experienced it in a little while, it's almost like, oh, that's starting to taste good. Oh, like I'm getting used
Mhm.
to it or hey girl, hey
Yeah.
with the
It
whiskey.
doesn't it doesn't give me that like body shiver anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
think that like I used to get before we started the show. So now I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit of experience on sipping the whiskey, you know? So
Look at
it's
us.
really, really good. It's very smoky.
I do. I like
Oh,
it.
I love Bullet.
Yeah, because I think recently we did have a we made an old fashioned recently, and then before that we had the cookie dough. So we haven't experienced like more of a straight whiskey in a couple weeks. So
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks for sure. For
back
sure.
to our roots.
Yes, back to
Mm.
where we started.
Yes.
So good. I'm ready to gab. Let's have some hot goss.
Hot
Let's talk.
goss. Well, well. So we do have some fancy storytelling on the pod today.
We do.
But what we are going to talk about is something we're both very proud of, and we have done a significant amount of research for the
Mhm.
podcast, which we are not shooting from the hip today. No, no, nay, nay. So, listeners, it is March, and that means it's Women's History Month. And what we love here on the podcast is celebrating strong women, badass women, And
Yep.
we're going to share stories with you that have been of women that we admire and feel inspired by, and we think more people should know about.
Yeah.
So the theme, so Jaki will tell us a story and I'm going to learn about it, and I'm going to tell Jaki a story and we will all learn together. So
Yeah.
this show's title is called The Amazing Maze.
Yeah.
So we've both picked, we're throwing out names into the universe and we're like, ooh, we're going to pair these two together. So I will be talking about astronaut Mae Jemison, and Jaki will be talking about actress Mae West. So,
Yes.
Jaki, do you want to take it away and
Yeah.
educate me on Mae West?
Yeah. I would love to, because like
Yes.
a lot of people know Mae West as this golden age of Hollywood blonde bombshell, but a lot of people don't know like how she got there and what like she's actually famous for nowadays.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, she's just an old Hollywood actress, and she's got a ton of really good quotes. The one everybody knows is, why don't you come up and see me sometime? And
Ooh.
she says this to a young Mr. Cary Grant, who she actually, side note, discovered on the lot after he had been fired as a bit actor. But let's like take it all the way back,
Let's
because
take
Mae
that.
West is a powerful, powerful bitch. And I think that's what's really important about our stories that we're gonna tell over the next couple of weeks about some of these super powerful women, is that they had to put up with some kind of adversity to get where they were, to get like to get to the level of success that they achieved.
Yes.
And Mae West is no different. Even though she came up in like the golden age of Hollywood, she had to work to get what she got. And when I tell you the level of success, the level of fame that she got, you're going to be like, yas, snaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just love her. She had some real moxie, Rachael, some
Oh,
real
I love
moxie.
that
So she was born.
word.
I know. I love old people words. Um, she was actually originally born Mary Jane West in 1893 in Brooklyn, which I love the name Mary Jane. We all know that.
Wink, wink,
But
nudge, nudge.
she changed her name. She never liked the name Mary. And it's because she didn't like the way the Y hung down below her name. She's like, that just seems negative. I want everything to be positive and looking up. So she changed her name
Above the
to
line.
Mae. Yeah, above the line. Exactly. Now, Mae was her
Oh,
mother's favorite child.
but real quick, Mae spelt M-A-E.
Yes.
So that's how she got rid of the Y.
Yeah.
It's not M-A-Y,
Yes.
M-A-E.
Mae. Exactly. Exactly. So she was her mom's favorite and the baby.
Oh, we
She's
all
the
love
youngest.
baby.
Aren't all the babies? And you
I
know what?
am the baby. Everyone
You're the
loves that.
baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and you're your mama's girl. And the Green Guts Goblin, my baby sister, is obviously my mother's favorite. We all get it. Whatever. Whatever. The chosen ones. So she was her mother's favorite. And this is like sort of towards the end of the vaudeville era and the very beginning of Hollywood. So
Mhm.
she immediately puts her daughter in acting and singing lessons, theater lessons, the minute she can walk and talk. The
Mhm.
minute she can walk and talk.
Mae's
And
mother puts her
Mae's
in.
mother,
Okay.
yes. She was kind of just a regular schmegular girl. She wasn't like a head turner like um like Hedy Lamarr, who we're going to talk about,
Next
very soon.
episode.
And
Yep.
yep. And then she wasn't like Marilyn Monroe with her hourglass figure. She was very boxy, very normal. I don't want to say normal looking, because in my opinion, I think she's beautiful.
She wasn't the quintessential golden age of Hollywood bombshell like
She was
Ava
absolutely not.
Gardner,
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So because this is like the vaudeville era, and she very much performed on stage, and she watched other vaudeville performers, namely Lillian Russell, who was a comedian.
Mhm.
She learned very, very quickly that if she said some out of pocket shit, people was gonna laugh. So she like really, really, really leaned into it. She was very, very sexual on stage, but
Ooh.
not how do I say this? She wasn't like overt. She sort of took a side door to the sexual joke. So another one of her quotes is, um, when I'm good, I'm great, but when I'm bad, I'm better. And she's literally talking about being in bed.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Another one of her quotes is, people say this one all the time. Is that a gun in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me? Like those were the kind of jokes that she told, and the men and women both loved it. And so she grew up in Brooklyn, and she really watched the Harlem Renaissance flourish.
Mhm.
She was also very much a part of gay New York City life. And in the early 1900s, being gay in New York was very normal.
It's probably the
It
only place
was
it could be.
That was pretty much, yeah. And it wasn't shocking to see women dressed like men and men dressed like women. And so she had all of these really, really cool influences, but namely Black performers. And because she was a witness to this, she developed a sort of like dance move based on some African performances, like this little shimmy, and her whole body would like undulate. And
Mm.
for some reason, because she wasn't a typical beauty, people did not label it sexual.
It's almost like because she wasn't traditionally sexy, she got away with being more risque
That, yes.
because she's like scrappy,
Yes.
you
So it
know?
did, like, the audience didn't see her as a sex symbol, like a
Mhm.
sexual,
Object,
sexy
yeah.
object. So
Mhm.
when she did it, when she would do these things, these overtly sexual dances, or say these overtly sexual jokes, there was a comedic connotation to it, because nobody took her seriously. Like, why would we be looking at her sexually? Like, that's the way it was.
Mhm.
She was also something I didn't know. She was a freaking writer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this woman wrote all her jokes, all of them.
She's a modern
All
day, she was a back in the day Joan Rivers.
she made herself
Mhm.
into this caricature
Yeah.
of this overtly sexual. She walked a certain way, she talked a certain way. In real life, she didn't, that wasn't exactly who she was, but she created this caricature and she became her. And that actually opened the doors for her. So she created her own jobs in an era when you couldn't be overtly sexual, when alcohol was getting ready to be illegal,
Mhm.
when men ran the entire show. This woman kicked open a door and said, "This is the character. These are the jokes. You're going to write them this way, or I'm going to write my own shit." And that's exactly what she did. She wrote her own Broadway play. And this is in the 20s, and it is called Sex.
Oh, how
The play is
scandalous.
called
Clutch the
Scandalous.
pearls. Mhm.
Exactly. It was called Sex, and it was about sex. And it ran for a couple of months, and then the cops shut it down. In the middle
What?
of the performance, they raided the theater.
Fuck them cops, but go
They
on.
raided the theater, right?
Mhm.
And so the cops are on stage, and they're like, "We are only here for the cast. Everybody else can leave the theater after we have taken the cast to jail." Okay. The cop says to Mae, "Are you going to come on your own fruition, or do I have to put you in handcuffs?" And she goes, "I'm coming. What is there to be afraid of?" And she like looks him up and down. And she is telling jokes to the audience the entire way she's being led out of the theater. The entire way. Like she treated being arrested in a way that was like, this is going to be good for my career.
Oh, she wore it like a crown.
Like a fucking crown. It was amazing. So she goes to jail, right?
Yes.
And the warden is so excited to see Mae West. He's already garnered some very high praise on Broadway in the theater. She hasn't been in the movies yet.
Okay. Making a name for herself. Yeah.
She is currently making a name for herself, and she knows that getting arrested is going to be good for her career. So she doesn't even fight the frickin' charges. She's like, I'm going to jail.
Guilty.
I'm going to jail. The warden's like, we're going to make you as comfortable as possible. And him and his wife take Mae West out to dinner every single night that she is in jail for those 10 days.
And then they take her back to jail.
They take her back to jail so she
sleeps there. Yeah.
She sleeps there, but they brought her all the amenities that Mae West would have needed. There is a photo of Mae West and the warden's wife. And the warden's wife is nuzzling Mae West's ear in a very interesting way. In a way where it's like, Mae. What were you doing with the warden and his wife before after dinner? You know what I'm saying?
Ring a ding ding. All speculation.
Yeah, but still this photo is very like, if we saw it, say Lady Gaga goes to jail and we see a picture of Gaga and the warden's wife, and the warden's wife is doing to Gaga what this warden was doing to me.
Up. Yeah.
We would be like, lesbians.
Let's be honest.
What's happening? But Mae actually goes on to describe those 10 days in jail as the best time of her life.
I wonder if her and the cast were like doing rehearsals to be like, we got to stay sharp.
I don't know. Well, the play
gets sold out after this.
They don't go back on stage.
Okay,
Sex gets canceled. So they got to
boo.
perform it a couple of times. I think it was running for a couple of weeks before the cops were like, no
fun.
But Mae was for the gays. Mae was for the gays. Like I said earlier, she was a witness to gay New York, and so all of her team, like her makeup artists, her stylists, all of those guys, gays. She was for them. So we're gonna fast forward, and she finally goes to Hollywood. Now, Mae West, when she finally gets parts in Hollywood, she is playing herself. She never once plays a character other than Mae West in this movie. So remember how I said she sort of created this caricature of like a sexual comedian.
Yeah.
Very aggressive, very flirty, very in your face, like you want to fuck, but in not all of those words. She down to a walk. If you watch any Mae West movie, the walk is choreographed. Mae was so aware of camera angles and lighting and things like that, that she basically directed the lighting. She directed the camera angles. At the end of her movie career, she had say over the script to the point where she was like basically writing all of her lines. On her very first movie, after she read the script, she was like, this is not gonna do. And she rewrote it. Now we're in the 20s. And of course, like they're just trying to control everybody's behavior at this point. No, you're not allowed to drink. It's the devil. They started calling marijuana devil's lettuce. They started doing all of the crackdowns on everybody's behavior, including what people were watching. The censorship commission is basically formed because of Mae West.
Get out of here.
I will not. They were so like shocked by the things that she was saying that they formed an entire commission to ensure that they weren't putting out movies that were inappropriate, basically, for American ears.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Delicate,
so
delicate
they
truth.
were so up her ass about what she was saying that they demanded script approval for every single one of her movies. And because they did that, she wrote in twice as many jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Twice as many jokes. And then she would like be very subversive about what she was writing. So they didn't get it.
Because
So
I'm
they didn't
sure
get
just
the jokes.
reading a line out would be, oh, but if like once you put the inflection or like the wink behind it, it might just be like, now it's suggestive.
That's
Know?
exactly what
It's
she
the
would do.
delivery. It's the pun of
Yes.
it all. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
The double entendre.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think my favorite story about her, especially like in this world, is that when she finally got a production contract through the studio, she asked who was the highest paid person in the studio. And they
Mhm.
were like, the studio head, he gets paid $250,000 a year. She
Mhm.
said, if you want me to sign this contract, I want $251,000 a year. Lady boner, right? Oh
Yes.
God, I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
They gave it to her because she knew her inherent value.
Yeah.
She knew it.
Hmm.
So they gave her full script approval and the salary that she asked for. And she was everything that she did, a box office smash. Everybody wanted to see her movies. There was something like that people could not get around. The public couldn't get around. The government couldn't get around.
Hmm.
She promoted at the time, it was a shocking, unheard of idea that sex could be something fun.
Oh, that women could actually enjoy themselves.
Yes, they called it a shocking and troublesome message.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Oh
For
no.
women. Yeah. So my thing, I love Mae West because she came about in a time where just men and men only, men and men only, no women at all were
Mhm.
involved and in charge of the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
And
They were
she,
only playthings on screen.
yeah, they were mothers, sisters, daughters. They were very rarely like overtly sex symbols. Even Marilyn Monroe was not an overt sex symbol in her movies. Like, yes, very sexy. And so because she was sexy, it made her a sex symbol.
Yeah.
But Mae West was like, I like to fuck. Not in so many words.
Yeah.
And because she was like that, and that reaction that you just gave me was
Hmm.
what she got, she
Hmm.
was able to just smash all of the expectations that are put on women and create her own career. They were like, this is the path that you need to take to Hollywood. And she said, I'm gonna actually take this one. It's better.
Yeah. You can't tell me
And
what.
you can't tell me what the fuck to do.
Hmm.
And because of that, at the time, she was the highest paid actress in
Hmm.
the movies.
Yeah.
And her films are still like relevant. Like I watched one yesterday. Yeah, I watched one yesterday. Hilarious.
Hmm.
She's so funny. She's so funny. I really, really relate to Mae West because I am out of pocket as fuck, you know?
Like, did
And
she
if
just
and
say that? Yeah, she did.
yes,
Hmm.
she was very much that person who's like, did she just say that? And when she got the reaction that she wanted, she like leaned into it. And that's so relatable.
Yeah.
It's so relatable.
Hmm.
So that is a quick rundown in history of Mae West. I think everybody should watch at least one Mae West movie and throw her quotes in your bag of quotes for when you need something saucy.
Yeah,
My favorite Mae West quote, and I'm gonna say this from now on, I might even tattoo it on myself.
I'm ready.
When I'm good, I'm great, but when I'm bad, I'm better.
I'm better. Mm,
Mm. So I love her. I love
badass
her.
bitches of history, Mae West.
I
Ooh.
know.
My story isn't as scandalous, but
Okay.
close to home. Because, I work on a certain, let's see, a
Space thing.
space contract.
Spacey.
Spacey contract. Yeah. So we're going to talk about Dr. Mae Jemison, America's first African American woman in space. Are you ready?
I'm so ready for this because I
Oh,
actually have never heard of Mae Jemison, so everybody needs to. I might have, like, in school, they might have, they skim over Black
mhm.
history in general. So, like, I'm sure I heard her name, but I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about her. So,
Well, have you heard about Sally Ride?
of course I have.
Yeah,
She's
so
the white
she
one.
well, she was the first NASA's first female astronaut in space. So this
Right.
is Mae Jemison, NASA's first African American woman in space. So Mae Jemison, she was born on October 17th, 1956. So I believe she was born in Alabama, but grew up in Chicago. So as a young girl growing up in Chicago in the 50s and 60s, Mae had always dreamed, Mae Jemison
Mhm.
had always dreamed of going into space. But keep in mind, there were no female astronauts at this time, let alone a real space program. Like NASA was founded in 1958, 2 years after she was born. So, and we didn't land on the moon until 1969.
Is
So,
she so let me ask you a question about May. You know how there was the group of female astronauts that they basically like tested the space program on?
mhm.
Did she ever go through that?
No, so that was part of the Mercury program. So
Right.
the way NASA space program was, it was Mercury, then Gemini. That's how you
Mhm.
pronounce it, Gemini. And then it's Apollo. So Mercury must have been happening in the 50s, and then Gemini was happening in kind of like mid to early 60s, and then Apollo was in the late 60s.
Okay.
So Mercury was probably happening if those Mercury women, which never went to space, they were just pilots. So that was when she was born. So it's again, she didn't have a lot of she might know she wants to go to space, or she might be fascinated by the stars. However, there is no plan that she could see or be aware of at that time that like women were pilots in NASA at that time.
Yeah.
So let's see. So she Mae Jemison, she adored science and was constantly looking for patterns in stars, watching ants, and learning all she could about the world around her. It's just everything that was intriguing her. And so her interests also, as a young girl, stretched beyond science. And while in high school, she had to make the difficult decision to either pursue dancing professionally or go to college.
Oh, she was a dancer too.
Yeah, she was a dancer, technically trained dancer. So she was at this
Wow.
kind of impasse in her life of like, what do I want to do? Do I want to like, which passion do I want to follow? So she chose the latter, and then she went to Stanford and got her bachelor's of science in chemical engineering and a bachelor of arts in African and Afro American studies.
My jaw is agape. First of all,
Hmm.
I got chills because
Yeah.
she was like she had to choose between a dancer and a
Hmm.
scientist. So she went to Stanford.
Stanford.
What a
Hmm.
badass.
And then she was like, I'm gonna go get a double degree in chemical engineering and then like Afro American studies.
Let me learn about my own history, basically,
Yes.
is what she said. And then let me go ahead and make everybody else's lives better by learning about chemical engineering. That's crazy.
Jacqueline, buckle up.
Oh,
I'm
this is gonna be bad.
just getting started.
Oh God.
So it's like this woman is out of control in the best way, like the best scientific way ever. So, okay. So she gets a double degree while she's in
Okay.
college. Then after college, she gets accepted into Cornell Medical School, becomes a doctor, and then after Cornell, she then serves as a doctor in Liberia and Sierra Leone with the Peace Corps. with the Peace Corps. And then she even worked as a vaccine researcher for the CDC. It gets better.
I am nothing. I am nothing compared to this woman. Holy shit.
Yes, so brilliant scientist. So
brilliant.
So even across the world and in a lab, she never gave up on her dream of going into space. Like she just always loved it. But again, she is maturing with America's space program, you know. But again, all you see is white men in Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. So again, we talked about Sally Ride a little bit. And also I want to mention Guy Bluford, which was America's first African-American male astronaut. So he was the first African-American to ever go into space, was Guy Bluford. So inspired by Sally Ride and Guy Bluford, Mae applied to the astronaut program in 1985. And then she was selected as a NASA astronaut candidate in 1987. So this is right after Challenger happened. So it's like NASA had kind of put a pause on it. So it kind of took a little ways to like get her to like start up the astronaut candidate program again and kind of get back on its feet after Challenger. So out of over 2,000 applicants, she was selected one of 12. Yeah. So
I have
just
done nothing with my life. How old is she at this point?
I don't
She's
have
born in
that.
56. And then she
so
was
she's in her
accepted
30s.
in the 30s.
Yeah, she's like in her 30s.
Oh my God.
She's like early 30s at this point. So when she first
learning about people like this who have accomplished this much by their early 30s, and I'm over here like, gotta do something.
I'm saying flowers can bloom at any time. Like
I know,
it's never
and you're
too
such a
late.
good message.
Yes,
I know.
We're 41. We're having it. So after she is one of 12 candidates out of over 2,000 that apply. So she initially works on launch support activities at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So she's helping support launch activities. So when NASA is like ramping back up again after the Challenger investigations, they're like, okay, we're going to make this super safe, more safe, and all the investigations. So now let's start sending people up again. So Mae Jemison is in this new class of astronauts. So 5 years later, because it takes a lot of time to become an astronaut. So 5 years later, in 1992, she finally realizes her childhood goal of journeying into space. She made it. She made it. She couldn't see it as a kid, but she now is in space. So she was part of a 7-member crew and she was a science mission specialist with mission STS-47, which is part of Space Lab. And she did 127 orbits of the Earth in the Space Shuttle Endeavour. So she was up there for 8 days and they did 127 orbits of the Earth. So
how fast are they going?
They have to go fast enough where they don't fall back into orbit. So yeah.
I don't know enough about space.
I don't know.
When people talk to me about space, my brain, like my eyeballs for some reason go look 2 different ways because I don't understand it at all.
Gets a little glazed over. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but they're a couple thousand miles above the Earth. And so she put her medical expertise to work and conducted bone cell research in a weightless environment, and then did also experiments on space motion sickness, which a couple of the Apollo astronauts, they'll tell you, like, they get sick in space. So she conducted research and experiments to kind of like help assuage that problem.
Okay.
So excellent. So in total, Dr. Mae Jemison logged 190 hours, 30 minutes, and 23 seconds in space.
She's so impressive.
So this was her only space flight because she's like, okay, I'm going to be awesome and go do more awesome things. So she left NASA and the astronaut program shortly after the space flight, but she remained engaged in the sciences because she loved it. So after her career at NASA, she taught environmental studies at Dartmouth, worked with a company to improve healthcare delivery in Africa, and she actually became the first astronaut to appear in the show Star Trek. So it was Star Trek: The Next Generation, and she was Lieutenant Palmer in the 1993 episode Second Chances. This woman is an actress as well. Like, is there anything she can't not do?
Is there anything this woman can't do? Because she can dance too. I
Dance.
bet she can
She
sing.
got
I bet she
moves.
can
I
sing.
bet she does. It doesn't say nothing to corroborate that, but I wouldn't doubt it. Look at her.
I would not put that past that woman. And she's still alive too, huh?
She's still alive. Yeah. So she so she later led NASA's 100-year Starship effort to advance the necessary research to bring interstellar travel to the realm out of the realm of science fiction into reality.
Wow.
Yes. So she's still like, if you look into NASA's astronaut pages, which I helped build, but it's like there are historical astronauts like Sally Ride, like Neil Armstrong, like it's like Mae Jemison's like she was a trailblazer. So she is a historical astronaut in NASA
Yeah.
archives.
Yeah.
Astronaut of significance. So also, oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing on her resume that I'm telling you about. So
Okay.
in 2017, Mae and Sally Ride, which was NASA's first female astronaut, were two of the women featured in the inaugural Women of NASA Lego set. She is a Lego figurine.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
so cool. She's a
Yeah.
Lego figure
She's a
too.
Lego figurine.
She's an
Yes.
astronaut. She's a
Mm-hmm.
doctor. She's a
Mm-hmm.
dancer.
Yep.
She's an actor.
Yep.
Now she's a Lego figure.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I learn about this woman in school?
This is why
This
we're
makes
here on the
no sense to me.
podcast. This is what we're here
Exactly.
for. We're going to broaden people's horizons. Just wait for the other episodes, you guys. It's getting real good. So it's like, so Mae Jemison helped make it possible for girls to imagine themselves in a spacesuit on a spaceship in outer space during playtime with Legos, and then also as a trailblazer herself, because she didn't believe it couldn't happen. So yeah, so it's like now there have been
She was
over
delusional. She was delusional
Delulu
that
is
it
the
could
Delulu.
happen. The Delulu is the Salulu.
Yes. So there have now been more than 50 American women who have flown with NASA. So it's like Mae Jemison is proof that when one barrier is broken, it can set off a domino effect. So some accolades. She has been inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame and the International Space Hall of Fame.
Cool.
And then also in 2001, she wrote a book called Find Where the Wind Goes as a memoir of her life written for children. I think she's written like 4 or 5 other books as well.
She's an author too.
Published author. And this is a quote from her. It's my favorite quote from her, and I love it so much. So Mae Jemison says, "Never be limited by other people's limited imaginations." And isn't that the truth?
Girl, the B Delulu, it's the Salulu.
Yes. Like,
Period.
I think the Obama's like, you can't be what you can't see. But even though she couldn't see it, she didn't believe that she couldn't be it.
She just knew it was going to happen. And like,
Yeah.
that is how you accomplish things. It doesn't matter the path ever, ever. Mae West knew she was going to be a movie star. She didn't know how she was going to get there, but the path laid itself out. And just like Mae West, just like Mae Jemison, like if you know you want to be somewhere, just know you can.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself to the point where other people, like I just said, think you're delusional.
Yeah.
And it will happen. You have to believe in yourself that much. This woman accomplished so much that I feel like I need to do something with my life.
I will say in my research for this story, and we were deciding who we wanted to talk about, who we wanted to bring to our masses, to our audience. And I obviously knew who Mae Jemison was. I picked her. So it wasn't like I didn't know about her. However, it was funny because I was like, okay, she's the first African-American woman in space. I didn't know who NASA's first African-American in space ever, which is Guy Bluford. So it's like, I was like, okay,
you're like,
my
who the
radar
woman
is off the chart. So I had to learn who the male astronaut was because I didn't know that.
I know who the women are.
I know who the women are. Absolutely. And
all of the women need to know who the women are. So
yes, and so like she just kicked open the door for a lot of other people. Like there's like, I forget her last name, but her first name is Sunita. She's like a Latin she's a Latina astronaut with a NASA astronaut program. Like
Yeah.
she does amazing things. And it's like Mae Jemison was first and then everything came after that. But I will also give it up to NASA. Like they have a very, maybe not for Apollo, which was not really big on diversity, but
Right.
NASA's astronaut corps is very diverse. And
NASA
yes.
in general, yeah, NASA in general, I've noticed, like, the longer we've talked about it, I've noticed they have a very, very, very diverse,
Mhm.
um, and very inclusive,
Yes.
uh, community of employees
They
as a
do.
whole, as a whole.
Absolutely. And as maybe our parents' generation was the Apollo generation. So
Yeah,
now as NASA is getting ready to go back to the moon with Artemis, they have the Artemis Accords. And so they are branding us the Artemis generation. So for the kids to get them very more active and excited about science to be the next generation of those scientists and astronauts that go to the moon base, to Gateway Station that they're building, to go to Mars. So it's like, but the biggest one of the big things that they're hoping for Artemis that they have agreed to and said this is an important thing for us is putting the first woman on the moon and the first person of color. So those we don't know who's going to go to the moon at the time of this recording.
right.
Artemis 2 hasn't even launched yet, and uh, astronauts aren't even going to go until Artemis 3, and then Artemis 4, I think, lands on the moon. So
I
it's
just got chills again because
I
I
know.
just know that that door is going to open and the woman and the black person,
Yeah.
Latino, whoever
Mhm.
the minority is
Mhm.
going to push the white man aside and get
Yeah.
on that fucking
So
moon
NASA
first.
is very aware of their history and where the history of the country was in the 1960s.
Right.
And civil rights movement. But NASA's, I feel, is really leading the charge in diversity and letting new voices in and new experiences. And just, I think it's really fantastic. And then it
I do
helped
too.
start with Mae Jemison.
I love that. And then
Hmm.
I also love that little girls and children who are minorities can see these astronauts,
Hmm.
can see them go to space and be inspired to go into STEM and see themselves.
Yes.
Representation, seeing yourself as somebody who can do that, that's so important for a little kid. Like
Hmm.
that astronaut looks like me. That is an important thought for children to have
I
in
can do
order
it
to
too.
inspire them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can do it. That person did it. I can do
I
it
can do
too.
it.
In
Hmm.
order to inspire them to get into something like that. And we need as many scientists and doctors and researchers as we possibly can to really save us
Save us. Yeah. Save some more.
as
Yeah.
a whole.
Yeah. So that is Dr. Mae Jemison. So did you learn something, Jacqueline?
I did. I learned so
Mhm.
much. What about you? How's Mae West treating you?
I kind of was aware of Mae West, and I think I could like, oh, just saw a picture of her. I'd be like, oh, that's Mae West. But it's
Yeah.
like knowing like how she stood up for herself, the fact that she didn't give a fuck, like no fucks given Mae West.
No.
And I was just like, oh, I didn't know a lot about her, but it's like I had known of her, but I love it. I love, and it's again hearing these stories of like women standing in their own power and not taking any shit, like allows me to say, like, fuck off. I'm not gonna take any shit.
Mae West was a woman in a man's world, and
Hmm.
she put some pants on
And she played
and
the game
kicked
better
those
than
men.
they did.
She did. And
Hmm.
there was an interview I watched of her in Britain, and a reporter asked her what she thought of men. She's like, May, what do you know how they used to
Yeah.
talk that mid-Atlantic? What do
Yeah.
you think about men, May? And then she was like, well, they've been my career, so and that was the end of it.
That's it. So,
They've been my career.
mm-hmm.
Why don't you come up and see me sometime and I'll tell you? She said it all the time
Oh, I
because
love
that phrase
it.
was so, so famous. She would say the quote
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh, I
So I
love it.
love it.
I
I
love it.
love the way
Really, I do. Yes. Maybe I was like taking inspiration from her without even knowing it. And that is how prolific she is.
Yes.
So,
That's exactly, yes. You actually remind me a little bit of her when you say your little quotes.
yeah. A
Because
ring
you
a
say
ding
some stuff.
ding.
Ring a ding dang.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Yes. I love her so, so much.
Oh, that is some great storytelling and fantastic. We're not just drinking whiskey here. We're learning on the podcast.
We're learning things. Listen, if anybody,
Learning.
if we need to know the history of women who changed the way we've lived, and
Yes.
if we don't keep telling their stories, they'll go by the wayside. And I know there are people who are listening to us right now who have never heard of Mae Jemison. And I know there are people who may have heard of Mae West, but don't know the doors she kicked in for other actors and people in the entertainment industry. And quite frankly, women in general, for us to be able to
Enjoy sex.
enjoy sex
Yeah. And to just
unabashedly.
be foul mouth
Yeah, be
unapologetically.
sexual
Yeah.
without being apologetic. Mae
I
West is the reason I can be the way I am.
oh yeah. 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 We stand on the shoulders of giants and we know it and we thank them. But I am so excited for this series for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
So to hear your stories and the things that I'm going to learn, and then just so that I can also like share
Yeah.
like role models that I very, very much enjoy. But oh, so
Yeah.
buckle up for the rest of the month, everybody. It's going to be
It's
so
gonna be
good.
it's gonna be
Mhm.
so good. And it's so important to really tell these stories, especially. And we didn't get a chance to feature um uh prominent Black history last month just because we've
Mhm.
been traveling and stuff.
Mhm.
But that's why I'm so like happy to like feature like Mae Jemison, who's
Mhm.
so important to Black history, not just American history, but Black history for sure.
Yeah,
So there's
that's
going to
why
be a
she was
couple
my
of
first
more,
choice. Yeah.
yeah, there's going to be a couple more stories that we tell that are prominent Black women,
Mhm.
that I am so excited to talk about.
Yes. Oh, on that note, Jackie, are you ready for the spellbounding?
Yeah,
I
let's do
see you
it.
shuffling. Are you ready for that 3 card tarot pull? It's going to be
Yes,
good
let's
today. Oh, I feel so inspired.
see.
I feel
I do
uplifted today.
too.
Hmm.
You know, the word inspired comes from the phrase in spirit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like you are inspired by spirit. Like spirit is giving you the ideas, that inspiration in spirit.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my favorite
Just
thing.
learning everything today on the
Lots
podcast.
of things are my favorite thing, but that's one of my like favorite little, hey, did you know?
I like that. Okay. Okay. We're ready. Knock 3 times.
Yes.
We're here.
Hey. Well, we got the wheel again.
Oh,
We got the wheel.
okay.
One I don't have memorized, and the King of Swords.
The wheel, the King of Swords.
Yeah, but hold on, let me see what the second
Because I
one. I
don't
don't have.
remember. Yeah, because again, you're a little bit better than me about it.
So let me pull this up for us.
Mm. Do you know what the third one is? Oh, what are we doing?
So the
Mm.
first one is the wheel. It has to do with like changes in fortune, the passage of seasons, opportunity, ups and downs, setbacks.
To me, like
Okay.
that's those like these women,
Yeah.
they're like, no, we're gonna be trailblazers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally, they said that's a setback. Let me just kick open this door
that's
then.
redirection.
Yeah, they said that's a closed door. Oh, look over there, a window. Smash. Like that's exactly how they were. And then the second one is death. This is a card. So first of all, this is the wheel.
Okay, I see the wheel.
Okay. So it goes around and around, and like it has a lot to do with like your path and things like that. Death has a lot to do with um starting something new,
Mm.
fear of changes, things like that, like big
Fear of the unknown.
changes.
Yeah.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
in order to be a trailblazer, you're going to have to go through those big changes.
Yeah. Go do something
So,
that's never been done before.
yeah, it's going
Breaking
to be
trails is hard.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, trailblazing is hard. When the door closes and you got to smash through that window, that shit is that's what our whole show is about, really,
Yeah. And I
is
feel like these
having to go
women
through that.
didn't really like say, I'm going to be a trailblazer, but they're just like, I'm going to do my best and do what my passions are. And
And
then it
nobody's
just,
going to stop me. That's what they said.
no one's going to
Nobody.
stop me. Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to stop me, and especially a man is not going to stop me.
That's right.
Like, from everything that I read about Mae West, she was only
Mhm.
married. I didn't even get to tell you this. She was only married one time, once. And she was
Once.
like, "That's not for me."
Thank you.
That's my Mae.
Already
That's my Mae West impression.
That's gonna be like our like secret squirrel voice from now on.
Yeah.
It's the Mae West.
And then the King of Swords is about fucking ambition.
What?
I know.
Get the
It's about
fuck out of here.
literally ambition to the point where like nothing can stop you. I will step on you. I
Yeah.
will fucking step on you. This is the kind of ambition I've got. I'm taking no prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is what I say. I always say you
this
need to
is
either be on my side or by my side or get the fuck out of my way.
get the fuck out the goddamn way. That's
Mm-hmm.
really what it's about. So like passage of time, opportunities, going up and down, setbacks, and then starting something new, having to go through that all of this whole path is just hard. This whole path is hard. But it's going to bring something new, but you have to be relentless, fearless.
Yeah.
Don't let fucking shit get in your way.
Mm-mm.
I said it, I
Eye on
kept
the
saying
prize.
it on, be eye on the prize, be delusional. Know you're gonna get there. Let it go. The path will lay itself out.
Again,
And don't listen to anybody.
and we can close on again Mae Jemison's quote, never be limited by other people's limited imaginations.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yes. What a fantastic show, Jaki.
I know.
Ooh.
I love that shit. I love that
I
shit.
love it. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to another fantastic and fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black
and Whitefield. Join us next week for another fantastic learning episode for badass women. A little teaser trailer. I'm going to be talking about Hedy Lamarr. Yes. And you will be talking about...
Who am I talking about?
Dorothy
Hold
Vaughan.
on, I have it. Oh yeah, Dorothy fucking Vaughan. Another amazing Black woman trailblazer. So excited.
Yes,
one of
you remember her.
She was in the movie Hidden Figures. She's one of the characters. She is not the main character that went in and did all the calculations for Neil Armstrong, but she's one of those important ladies. So I'm so excited to tell everybody about her.
Yes, so we will see you next week here back on the podcast for Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black
and Whitefield. Love you. Bye.